I had a client reach out not long ago, really excited, and she'd mapped out her one full day on Oahu. Pearl Harbor in the morning, then up the North Shore, then Waimea Bay, Haleiwa for shave ice, Kualoa Ranch in the afternoon, a loop through the Windward side, and back to Waikiki for dinner. I read through the whole thing, and then I wrote back, I love the energy here, but this plan assumes there's no traffic, no line at any food truck, no time to actually look around anywhere, and that Oahu is roughly the size of a kitchen table. She laughed, and then we rebuilt the whole day from scratch. Hey, welcome back to Hawaii Travel Made Easy. I'm Marcie, certified Hawaii destination expert, and today we're talking about Oahu day trips. Specifically, how to plan them so you're actually present and enjoying yourself instead of speeding through them like you're late for a flight. I've done more Circle Island tours on Oahu than I can count at this point. Sometimes with a private guide, sometimes just us in a rental car. And I'll tell you, every single time we drive ourselves, we have more on our agenda than we can actually pull off. Every single time. We're cutting stops as we go, realizing the shrimp truck line ate 40 minutes we didn't budget for, sitting in construction on the H2, wondering why we thought this would be quick. On our last trip, my 12-year-old and I took turns controlling the music. My turn, Jack Johnson the entire time, which felt extremely appropriate for driving around Oahu. His turn was, let's call it eclectic, but honestly, I loved every song he picked. That's the kind of day a Circle Island drive can be when you're not white-knuckling it through a packed itinerary. But that only happens when you've given yourself room to breathe. Oahu traffic, especially heading up to the North Shore, is genuinely not to be underestimated. And there's almost always something slowing things down that Google Maps did not warn you about. So the way I like to think about day trips now, pick one anchor. The thing you most want to do, build around that. Let go of the rest. A day where you do 2 or 3 things always is going to be a day where you technically did 8 things and remember none of them because you're too exhausted and moving too fast. So let's start with Pearl Harbor because this is the one I push back on the most. If you want to go to Pearl Harbor, that is your whole day. Not the morning, the whole day. I've had multiple clients try to pair it with a North Shore drive, and I always have the same conversation. By the time you've done Pearl Harbor properly, you're going to be emotionally spent, physically tired, and ready for the pool. It's not a breezy morning activity. There are actually 4 historic sites there: the USS Arizona Memorial, the USS Battleship Missouri, the Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum, and the USS Bowfin Submarine. The Missouri and the Aviation Museum are both out on Ford Island, so you're taking a free shuttle just to get there. You're factoring in parking, storing your bags. I should mention they have a really strict rule about no big purses, no backpacks, but they have storage on site for a fee. Getting through security, and if you manage to get USS Arizona Memorial tickets, waiting for your reserve time. Those tickets are on recreation.gov, bookable up to 56 days in advance, and they stopped doing walk-up tickets, so if you're not planning ahead, you will show up and miss the memorial entirely. Episode 22 is my full Pearl Harbor deep dive, and I'll link that in the show notes. We've been as a family a few times now. My kids were obsessed with the Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum. It's inside actual World War II hangars that still have bullet holes in them from December 7th. It's air-conditioned, and there's a cafe. There's food right there at Pearl Harbor, so you don't need to plan around lunch somewhere else. Give it the full day. It deserves it. Now, the North Shore, and I need to talk about the food truck situation. I love the Kahuku shrimp trucks. I love Haleiwa, and I have now had multiple clients who plan their entire North Shore day around hitting as many food trucks as possible, with almost no time between stops to actually get hungry. You cannot eat your way through the North Shore in 3 hours. It's not a food competition. Give yourself actual breaks between the eating. What makes a really good North Shore day is having 1 or 2 intentional food stops and leaving enough room to actually look around. Laniakea Beach, also known as Turtle Beach, is free, and the turtles are often right there on the sand. Haleiwa Town is genuinely fun to walk through. There's good shops, cute galleries, and yes, Matsumoto Shave Ice is worth the line. Waimea Bay is one of those views that stops you in your tracks. And if you want to make the North Shore a really full, memorable day, look into pairing Waimea Valley in the afternoon with TOA Luau in the evening. Your luau ticket gets you free admission into Waimea Valley, which has a beautiful botanical garden, cultural programming, and a waterfall you can swim in. You can stay right there for the luau afterward. TOA Luau is my favorite luau on Oahu. It took the top spot in my luau rankings episode on episode 25, which is episode 95. And doing the valley first just makes the whole thing feel really complete. It's a long day, but it's a great long day. The Windward side is its own day too, and Kualoa Ranch is the one I always ask a follow-up question about. When someone tells me they want to do Kualoa Ranch, I always ask, are you making a full day of it? Because you absolutely can. And I think you should. Morning tour, lunch at their cafe, and then an afternoon tour. They have UTV tours, jungle tours, movie site tours, and yes, this is where they filmed Jurassic Park. And the property is one of the most stunning places on Oahu. I have a full blog post on Kualoa in the show notes. If you're only doing a morning tour there, I'll usually suggest pairing it with something nearby. The Byodo-In Temple is close and genuinely one of the most peaceful spots on the island. Omaluhia Botanical Garden in Kaneohe is free. Or just hang out at Kualoa Beach Park for a bit. That whole corner of Oahu slows you down in the best possible way. Now, Hanauma Bay. I kept this brief in my head for a while because I think of it primarily as a snorkeling spot, but I want to reframe that a little bit because it's actually a really well set up full beach day, whether you snorkel or not. Yes, the snorkeling is wonderful. It's a protected bay, so the water is calm, and there's a lot of marine life right there in the shallow water. But even if you're not a snorkeler, or you've got a little one who just wants to splash around, it's a beautiful, comfortable way to spend a day. There are bathrooms and changing areas, so you're not wrangling wet kids with nowhere to go. You can rent beach chairs, snorkeling gear, all of it right there on site. There's food available. It's a little pricey, so I'd still suggest packing some snacks. And there's a shuttle that takes you from the parking area down to the beach and back, which is really nice when you're loaded down with gear, a bag, a child, and all the things. It's genuinely one of the better organized beach setups I've seen. They put some real thought into the visitor experience there. That said, get the earliest reservation time you can. The parking fills up fast, and once a lot is full, you're turning around. I'd also book your entry reservation ahead of time online. I'll drop the link in the show notes. Once you're in, though, you could easily spend a full day and not feel like you've wasted a second of it. For all of these, a car is going to give you the most flexibility and honestly, the most fun. On one of our Oahu trips, I had my 5-year-old with me and we did an open-air Jeep tour where our guide took us to beach swings, blowholes, and all the off-the-beaten-path stops I never would have found on my own. It was one of those days that just felt like the best day ever. The kind you're still talking about years later. A good guided tour can absolutely do that, especially if logistics feel overwhelming or you just want someone else to handle the driving. But for flexibility to stop when something catches your eye and leave when you're actually ready, having your own car is hard to beat. I book through Discount Hawaii Car Rental. They compare rates across multiple companies so you're not doing all that research yourself. The link is on my Hawaii Resources tab on hawaiitravelwithkids.com. That's where I keep all my other trusted Oahu picks in one place. Tours, guides, everything. And if you're staring at your Oahu itinerary right now trying to figure out whether you've got the pacing right, that's exactly what my $50 itinerary review is for. Send me your plan and I'll go through it honestly, what works, what needs to shift, and what you might be missing. If you want to talk through it together, I do 60-minute and 90-minute consultations too. All of that is on my website in the Hawaii Resources tab. Oahu is so worth it. It just doesn't reward rushing. If this episode was helpful, please subscribe and leave a review. It helps other listeners find this show. See you Wednesday. Aloha.